Hello everyone and welcome to another Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto. Today again early just because I have a day off. I don't think I can do that tomorrow again, but let us see. Maybe my new client is going to surprise me. Well, let us start and as usual, we will just initiate our session with the weights ratio and the weights ratio 30 hours moving average. As you can see, it lifted up and it maintains an uptrend hitting 90 at the moment. As you see, the weights ratio, it's indicating it's at 87, so still too high in my opinion. And 90, usually if we see something below 80 in the 30 hours moving average, that would be a nice level, in my opinion, that bullish, but it looks like that weights are, yeah, still sending bitcoins to the exchanges, and that's something we will check just afterwards in our flows activities. The stablecoin reserves on exchanges was declining. It's lifting up now. Not big. We are talking about a half billion. I mean, of course, big for us, but taking into account the ratio that we have seen in the past, it's not big. While the stablecoin supply is lifting up even more. Also here it's showing almost 2 billion, 2.5 billion. So that's not that bad. Um, but I don't know. I checked Tether and Tether's market cap is declining and USDC market cap is lifting up, but I checked I guess that's part of the USDD deal of Justin Sun, that some people are just buying USDD, and of course as a new stablecoin it appears here. So also here we need to see what's going to happen next. Let us take a look to the weights ratio 30 days moving average, and that's something that doesn't look that bad. So it bounced here after we reached 21%. That's actually still too high. You know, we had such move last year in summer that was to form the spring. We had a huge volume there. We maintained, I think, 2 or 3 days in the bottom zone before we lifted up afterwards. So yeah, I think something else, something similar is I would expect because as mentioned today on Twitter, the Bitcoin reserves on spot exchanges is lifting up, and we reached 53,000 Bitcoin within 2 weeks. That's usually an indicator of dump or nuke preparation. We need to see. Uh, Maybe they're expecting a bull run, the next big and huge bull run, and they want to sell their way up. I don't know. In my opinion, that's not necessarily the most realistic scenario. Let us take a look to the flows now. So let us talk about the current Bitcoin and stablecoin flow activity related to spot exchanges and only spot exchanges. So it's very, very important to see that. So even if you see here spot, market, spot, all exchanges, and also here you can see that that's always only spot because derivative markets, it's not useful at the moment, not yet. It has a different quality of information. For example, if you have inflows, spot inflows, They just can sell it or maintain there, convert Bitcoin to another um, asset. But however, also just to convert it means that's a sell operation. So you can just sell it or let it there accumulate for a later time, for example. And I have tweeted about that. Monday we had a really big inflow with 8,700 bitcoins. Afterwards, it declined. Let me just turn off here the others one. And yeah, 8,700. And the day that was Monday morning, Monday evening, we received another 8 2000, what is it, 2600. Then the day after we received also um, a cluster of bigger inflows here, for example 2700, 4100, some hours later another 3200, 2300, and so on and so forth. So I was telling you that, and right now it's lifting up. We received just last hour 2,800 Bitcoin, and before 800 Bitcoin, another 900 Bitcoin before. So it seems that also here the inflow activity is lifting up right now. And to be honest, I don't see all that Bitcoins here illustrated yet based on volume. But of course, we need to see. And you see here as well that the whales ratio was very high, so indicating all this stuff is coming from whales. And yeah, so let me here bring the stablecoins back. And we received a little bit more Bitcoin stablecoins than outflows. Okay, so for example here, 50 million outflow, but at the same time we had 130 million inflows, so indicating a net flow of 78 million. Also here 39 million, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it makes sense to change to the daily one, because then we can see that we have received a lot of stablecoins just in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So for example here 1.8 billion or 2.2 billion. That's actually a new record since last year, I would say. So that's usually very, very bullish, but we had at the same time also big outflows. So if we check the net flow, we are talking about, for example, right now here, yesterday we had a plus of 170 million, um, and just May 19th a plus of 190 million, because every time when we have a big inflow, we have at the same time a big outflow. So it's just like it looks a little bit like an agreement. They know. Also, for example, what I have yeah, observed is that as soon as they sent 8,000 bitcoins to the spot exchanges, they didn't start to sell. They waited, and few hours later, for example here, we have received a huge amount, I mean 380 million, and afterwards another 200 million, and then they have started to sell this 8,000 Bitcoin. And that's looks a little bit like they have an agreement, or yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'm sending the Bitcoins, now send your stablecoins so you can absorb my stuff. That's how it looks like at the moment, and that's really interesting. So I would expect this next. Maybe they're accumulating bitcoins again, and in a few hours we should see a bunch of stable coins coming to spot exchanges again. I don't know why that's happening. It looks like someone wants to exit and it's giving all their bitcoins to another one, maybe exchanges, because we know that, for example, FTX is buying, not that big, um, at at least not yet, I think, but it looks like. So let us take a look here, for example, now. As usually, I don't know why that's happening, but so let us see what's happening here. Well, first of all, the funding rate declined. Now the funding rate it's lifting up. I'm still expecting the next step should be 33K at the moment. Um, but yeah, it's all, everything depends at the moment on SPY again and DXY because both are correlated. And you see, for example, that DXY is, yeah, I don't know what DXY is doing. In my opinion, even some people told me, yeah, that's too big. You can't manipulate the whole market. But sometimes really it looks like they use the XY to manipulate the SPY, and at the same time they can use and manipulate the Bitcoin market because it's just following SPY at the moment with bots. I mean, if you can do that, if you have enough liquidity for that, and I'm not talking about millions, I'm talking about a lot of billions. And right now, SPY to manipulate, that's, I mean, if you check, we are trading right now with 42, 43,000 contracts. I mean, that's nothing. We had here 2.6 million if you make a comparison of that. So everything about a million, 1.5 million, it's useful. It's so right now it looks so, yeah, and nothing is happening there. And DXY, as mentioned, I don't know what DXY is doing. To be honest, it's go up, it maintains, so whatever. So to see something like 33K, in my opinion, SPY has to go up to 420 or something. It's absolutely possible that's going to happen. But I would prefer to see a rising volume and not that crap, to be honest, because that's just insane. So yeah, future trading. We are going back to future trading. So the funding rate it's lifting up. That could be a sign that also Bitcoin is going up to 33K. We need to see. Our open interest yeah, it declined a bit, but nothing big. And the leverage ratio is lifting up after it dumped hard. So yeah, we need to see. I have retweeted a tweet of the Kingfisher indicating um, upper 29K could be a potential next stage just because of high leverage longs on FTX, for example. So something, yeah, I right now we need to check all the stuff, but right now I couldn't say if first up or down, really not. So also here stablecoins, for example, we can see they and that makes sense. They used stablecoins to short, it seems, and it's relatively flat since then. So maybe they took profit and they are longing right now. And here, that's Bitcoin's after yesterday huge outflow. No big inflows detected, but it maintains positive. So it means that more Bitcoins are coming in. So they're reducing the volume it seems. And in my theory, they love too long with Bitcoin collateral, so that means they could see um, another leg up, but nothing big anymore. That's my interpretation. So if we check here, for example, we can see that shorts on Binance declined even more, longs maintained. We still have more than 1.5 billion. Also on Bitfinex, it seems they yeah lifted up in longs and declined in shorts. Also very interesting. We will see that, or we can switch just for a second to Bitfinex, what Bitfinex is doing. We go to Bitfinex spot. We see that Bitfinex is waiting there with a lot of, well, relatively um, low volume orders, but for Bitfinex, at least that's big. That's really big. And they're waiting between, let me see, that's 32.5 and 33.2. So maybe I'm wrong with 35k and we are just going up to 33 and then nuke afterwards. But that's what they are doing. They're really waiting there. Um, and yeah, so if they are going to hedge all these with longs, it makes sense to lift up in longs, and that would explain the 2.7 billion. Related to Ethereum, less shorts, I would say the same longs, and even here, much more longs, and maybe the same shorts on Binance, but still too bullish, in my opinion. And also here, even if we had a big move related to the shorts on Binance because we had 600, 700 million, and now at least we have 1.2 billion. So let us take a look to the FTX Kingfisher liquidation map, and Kingfisher already told us that's going to be a big. Okay, they reduce it already a little bit, seems, but yeah, it's, I mean, we can see what's happening here, right? We still have too many longs, just too many, high leverage as well. And yes, they are right. I think oops, sorry. I think this area is going to be the key, at least for the next. So go down and then up. But also here, we need to see what SPA is going to do. In my opinion, the next big move is not going to happen because of Wall Street, I guess. I think it's going to happen after Wall Street, but maybe I'm wrong. We need to see. However, also here, the high leverage shorts are lifting up at the moment, so 32k. And yeah, we are just $200 away from them. We need to see if we can see any exchange walls that protects this position. That could be also this year, for example. That could be a sign that institutionals or big whales are behind of these positions here. So, what is driving the market right now? Let us go down to a 5 minutes time frame so we can see that much better. Well, I mean, the main driver still keeps being the future market, to be honest, as you see, and they use also some spot and also, I mean, Bitcoin futures. They are reducing while the price went up. We can see that here. The price went up. The price went up because of spot, because of futures, but at the same time, they are reducing Bitcoin collateral. In my opinion, that's not really bullish. You know my theory about Bitcoin collateral futures. But FTX, it's still showing a positive CBD, and sometimes I'm struggling. Why? I mean, usually a CBD, um, if you have more sellers than buyers, or in that case the opposite, the CBD is going to rise. That's obvious. So I don't know if that's happening because, in my opinion, what FTX is doing doesn't make sense. Really not. I don't know why they are doing that. In my opinion, it looks like that would be a use, in my opinion, a usually institutional um, move what they are doing. Just accumulate right now. I mean, even we lift it up, we are still in a sideways run at the moment. Okay, yeah, we lift it up a little bit, so we are at 31, but we are still in a sideways run, and we need to go much higher to 35 to leave this bearish structure, in my opinion. And I mean, they started to sell at 36K, and even here they sold in lower ranges where they could start to buy and they didn't. They have started to buy at 29, 30K. Since then, they are, it seems, um, buying more than selling, and it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense, and looks like a little bit like the aggregated spot. I mean, Binance, it's used by this institutional, the same guys. They are, as you can see here, using future stable coins to drive the market, and they have started to lift up here, and they didn't sell more when we reached the bottom, the local bottom. And that's a big difference to FTX. So in my opinion, that's my theory. FTX, it's just accumulating Bitcoin to nuke it later. And that would be a very common institutional move. And I'm wondering why they are doing that. Does that, I don't know, that's pure speculation, but is that coincidence after Goldman CEO meets Sam? I really don't know, but something is happening. Something is really happening. And yes, so if we take a look to our market makers or to the other entities, let us see. I mean, these guys have started to buy again this year, so or at least they are stable, lifted up a little bit, but nothing big anymore. And we have these guys, they sold again, or at least they reduced their balances and lifted up now a little bit, but nothing. And even here, they are not accumulating. So we are far away from any accumulation pattern. And I have forecasted that just because these guys are lifting up. I mean, they as usual, I like these guys because they know how to trade. They actually just because they balances are lifting up just in few days doesn't mean they bought everything in that period of time. Usually they would start to buy here and now they are withdrawn all these bitcoins from exchanges and sending back to their wallets, and that's why their balances are rising. So now they have started to reach a price to distribute and are sending bitcoins back to exchanges and to OTCs. If we take a look here, oh, the market makers active again. It was a little shock for me right now because I was checking this chart just I don't know, an hour before or something, and I was seeing that here and I was thinking, okay, they are active again, but nothing big. And now you see here 3,160 Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Okay. While reducing their balances. And that's pure gold data. That's if you have two different separate sources and they're matched together. That's really awesome. I like that. Thanks to CryptoQuant and thanks to Sentiment for this really lovely data. I love that. Well, I mean, once again, these guys are indicating they're in preparation, so they are using OTCs and centralized exchanges. They send these bitcoins. If we take a look back to our flow activity, we see in here 2,850 bitcoins. If we take a look again here, it's 3,166 bitcoins. So I guess they are also involved in that big, yeah, they are involved in that big inflow to the centralized exchanges. And in my opinion, they are preparing the distribution and then dump afterwards. So we need to be very careful now, really very careful now. However, it doesn't mean that we can't go to 33K or even 34K before we go down afterwards again. Something I would expect. So, but yeah, that's it. And as you see, these guys are very active again. They distributed here different entities and also here they prepare it. And now it seems they are using the price above 31K to sell. So let us take a look. I mean, that's Bitfinex. We have talked about that. We can see here on Coinbase, for example, right now, they reduced again their wall at 35K. I don't know how to interpret that. I really don't know. Usually I was expecting they will continue. But I don't know if they see that the sell pressure or the market makers are very active again and they see we are not going up to 35K anymore. I don't know. But they reduced even the wall at 28K. Deribit. Wow, wow, wow. Did they? Wow. Deribit, it starts at 33 to 40K. I don't know what's going on there. And everything below 25K, they start again. But that's huge. That's bigger than before, isn't it? Bitstamp. Oh, just here at 29. Binance Spot, just 26. That's not sure if they are placing here a wall at 33. Yeah, yeah, they are placing a wall at 33. You remember I have mentioned yesterday at 32.2 and they stopped and now are placing it at 33K. Would match very well to my expectation to see 33K. Maybe 33K is going to be the 35K. So yeah, Bitfinex, I told you, Bitfinex is waiting here with a lot of sell orders between 32.5 and 33. So maybe they just want to trigger them and just go down. And we have here between 27.5 and 27. That would be interesting because then we would. Oh no, that's not a long. Actually, not a long wall. Okay, I thought. So FTX perp limiting the way down at 31.3 at the moment, and they reduced at 35 their wall. We don't see any other wall. We have a tiny one here at 32, but nothing big anymore. So also here we need to see. So they want to prevent, they want to maintain that level. It makes sense if you want to distribute. Kraken. Kraken still at 34.4, and that's it. They even stopped here at 26k. Bybit, nothing. Thank you, Bybit, for it. And BitMEX. BitMEX limiting the way up. Oh, at 32k with almost 8 million. And at the same time with 10 million, let us say 11 million between 31 and 30,900, and another wall at 30,400, and another wall at 29. So also here you see they want to maintain a price between 31.4 and 32. I don't know why, to be honest. I don't see there anything just because they want to sell or buy or whatever. So spoofing here on Binance, and they have here, yeah, some orders. It was a wall, it disappeared. Now it looks like that's a single order at 35.7, nothing big, and limiting at 29.7 here. So unfortunately, I don't see anything solid that would let me say, hey, we will go up first. Bitfinex still here waiting at 28. That's Bitfinex perp. Kraken futures also at 35, and that's it. And FTX spot also at 35, yeah, and 21. So nothing big. Okay, let us talk about the conclusions then.